Hello and welcome to Unsourced Wall. My name is Elvis, and as always, I'm your host. Alright, so due to extenuating circumstances, this is going to be either the shortest and the most least quality episode of Unsourced Wall ever. But hope you can bear with me because we're going to try to do this as fast as we can. First off, apparently Tom Taylor is finally at last getting the mainline Superman title, which is becoming a John Kent book, which is honestly such a karmic injustice. He did not totally destroy and fuck over Earth 2 in order to implement Superman Wank, just to get rewarded all these years later with the actual main Superman title. It's ridiculous, and honestly, it's too much to even bear thinking about. Oh, and I also almost forgot, we finally got the first trailer to the Shang-Chi movie, and it looks honestly surprisingly really good. Now, the bar was set low from previous Marvel movies that I've hated and despised, but also the Iron Fist TV show on Netflix, which was supposedly meant to introduce the whole magical super kung fu, but it ended up doing none of that and was honestly really embarrassing from all accounts. And this one actually seems to be taking itself a lot more fantastical in terms of the action, which looks honestly pretty solid. I don't expect it to be, throughout the movie. Marvel isn't really known for that, but I do expect the set pieces about it to be honestly pretty cool because it comes across that way in the trailer, and at least that's always successfully implemented. But the main takeaway from this trailer is that we get the whole narration from the Mandarin, who's called Wenwu in this version, who is Shang-Chi's father in this movie, and it sounds so good. And the actor playing him, I think his name is Tony Leung, looks amazing in both the casual businessman sort of outfit he's wearing, but also some more of the traditional kind of robes and long flowing hair. And it made me so mad that he wasn't in any of the Iron Man movies because Iron Man's dead. Tony Stark is dead. Robert Downey Jr. is only making cameos and flashbacks in Spider-Man movies. So it's kind of weird that we finally had his big main arch enemy who is nowhere to be found in any of those movies. And it's kind of sad and it's just ridiculous and disappointing, but it does look really cool. And hopefully the movie actually plays it up a lot more and makes him just an interesting and fun villain to watch. So fingers crossed. So let's move on to what I read this week. I only really read one big thing, which is Way of X, #1, from Simon Spurrier, and it was actually really fun. Now, I've been excited for this for a while because Spurrier is one of those writers where he either has really, really agonizingly painful to read lows, but also can create some masterpiece level works, like his Hellblazer run, or Moments of the Dreaming, Number Cruncher, and even some of his cross story arcs, for as kind of lowbrow as that series is, are pretty amazing. And Way of X is kind of in the middle. It's not like his stupidly overindulgent and overly complex lows, but it is kind of middling at points. It feels very straightforward in a way that I wasn't expecting from Spurrier. Even in his more kind of standard books, there's always something going on in the way to read them that this doesn't really have. But what it does have is Spurrier's panache, which he really, really hit hard with in Hellblazer for making really cutting, incisive, and devastating observations. And that's where this issue really shines and honestly really drew me in because it has some weighty impact through the characters and Nightcrawler and Krakoan society as a whole, and it's honestly really, really powerful to read and to just be confronted with. And Spurrier is the right man for the job here to sort of actually create this cohesive whole about kind of the immorality of immortality in the X-Men right now. So that was really impressive, and I'm excited to see where this series is going, especially with the reveal of the kind of ending surprise character and all. It reminds me that Spurrier has done some great work with X-Men before, and hopefully he can, continue that streak. So fingers crossed. Overall, 2 thumbs up. And lastly, we can head on to what I watched this week, which was the 5th episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier, and it's just so tedious now. It's going by the numbers to a point where it is really, really boring. It's so black and white and sterile in terms of its storytelling that it makes all attempts of it trying to be nuanced pointless. The only thing in this episode that actually felt like substantial and satisfying was Isaiah Bradley's monologue to Sam, because it felt like the show was actually saying something and making a statement for itself, which is honestly not something you can say about any of the other episodes, including the one it's in. So kudos to that part. But overall, the episode is so just blunt and superficial that it became really hard to care about anything going on. The John Walker stuff is so portrayed as so starkly like one-sided and biased in terms of what the writers are trying to say with it, despite any other kind of context. That it's ridiculous, it's laughable how they have like the characters become mouthpieces for the message. And the messages like forget context, forget like rationality, forget nuance, forget character complexity. And it's like, oh, okay, so what's there to care about in the show? But then we get the Isaiah Bradley monologue, which actually feels like passion and it feels like emotional, it feels raw, and not like manufactured like the rest of the episode is for all these other plot beats. And that's what really gets me. That's what really kind of stands out as like, is really, really sort of aggravating about how this show is constructed. Other than that, hopefully the finale doesn't completely suck, but I'm not pinning my hopes too high up on that. Overall, one thumb down, one thumb middle, and we'll see where the finale takes us. Anyway, I just want to give a shout out to the cover artist for the show at DOTEMCEE. Please check them out. They're amazing. And also, I just want to say that the Comics Code Authority podcast that I'm part of with Mr. Mitchell and Rover Queen, we recorded our first episode. I'm not quite sure when it's going to be out yet, but we're going to record our second episode soon. And hopefully we'll get all those out in rapid due time. So fingers crossed. And it's been really fun recording. So can't wait for guys to hear it. And anyway, have a great one. See you next time. And yeah, have a good one.